Hey everyone, and welcome to the Jack of All Trades podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Musso, and it's just me in the studio today. But in case you missed it, last episode was my first guest episode, and I had my former classmate Izzy on as a guest, and she is currently out in LA. So that was super exciting. If you missed it, definitely go back and listen to that one after this. And I hope to do a lot more guest episodes in the future. Somebody asked me today, actually, if I was ever planning to have a co-host for this podcast. And short answer, no, it's going to be a solo podcast, probably for the duration of it. But I always love having a guest on when I can. So if you're listening to this and you want to be a guest on the podcast, we can for sure find something to talk about, and just let me know. We will make it happen. But anyways, just me today. But we are going to do kind of a fun episode because, maybe I just needed a space to rant. Maybe that's what this episode is. But it's about pet peeves. My pet peeves and then your pet peeves, actually. We're going to get into it. I posted on my story for people to submit their pet peeves, and I thought I was going to get one or two responses, but y'all actually delivered. Y'all came through. So we're going to get to that later in the episode. We're going to start with mine. I made a whole list, and I want to see how many of you guys can relate to my pet peeves and the ones that everyone submitted. So, because everyone has them, So here we go. First one, old people not texting back. And what I mean by that is listen, some people treat texting as if it's a one-way street, and it just isn't. It's like I swear it just happens the most in the older generations, like middle-aged older people, but it's like this is not a situation where you just send a letter to someone in the mail and then they just receive it and go, "Aw," and then you don't have to respond. Texting is a two-way street. And so for a specific example, I'm a singer-songwriter. I make my own music. And every time that I've released a song, there are people that I will text it to because they like hearing my music. They just don't have social media, so they would have no way of seeing it. So I send it to them and don't hear anything back, right? And then if I see them, maybe 2 months later, they're like, "Oh, by the way, thank you so much for sharing your song. I really loved it. Keep sharing it with us. Keep doing it." I'm like, "What? You couldn't have texted that? You couldn't have texted that?" Or my grandmother, love her, of course, but sometimes she'll send a text and a thinking of you text sort of thing, and if there's a question in it, so I'll respond, I'll answer the question, whatever. Maybe I'll follow up with a question of my own or say something, and then she just doesn't respond back, no acknowledgement. And it seems to be a common theme, especially with older generations. And I get that people didn't grow up with technology, but I'm like, just an acknowledgement would be nice. You don't wait till you see someone in person to be like, "Oh yeah, I got your text." Just, I don't know. That might be me overreacting. The next one, I know some of y'all can relate to this next one. Slow walkers, or just barely, but not slow enough, because both are equally annoying. Slow walkers, I'm a fast walker, and I'm short. I'm 5'2", and a lot of people are not expecting me to walk that fast considering that I'm short. But no, I'm a fast walker. And I don't know if it's just because I'm used to not running late, but I'm used to, I always have somewhere to be. I'm constantly walking with a purpose, whether it's around my college campus or wherever it is. And so I think I'm kind of just used to being on the go and hustling to get places, or if it's cold outside, well, I'm going to walk fast because I don't want to be outside, So I don't know if it's just that in combination with because I am shorter, if there are people with longer legs and I have to keep up with them, I'm more apt to have to speed up. I don't know. That could be the reason, but I walk fast, and when I get behind someone that's walking slow, or worse, when you get behind two people or a whole group that's walking slow and you can't get around them, especially if it's on the stairs or something, that kills me. That kills me inside. I really want to just speed up and plow through everyone. I'm so sorry. The humanity in me just goes away, and I want to shove people out of the way left and right. I don't know. I'm on my pace. And I want to keep it that way. So, and if someone is walking just barely slower than you, so it's this weird thing where you're do I speed up and walk way too fast to just pass them? Or do I have to slow myself down to a really annoying slow speed so that I'm not like right on their tail or awkwardly kind of next to them? Like one of those situations, you know? And the other thing is like when I'm walking with a group, a lot of times people will be like, oh, you're walking so fast. Like, why are you walking so fast? And I'm like, I'm walking fast. No, I'm holding myself back. I'm slowing myself down to not be way ahead of you guys. And you still think I'm walking fast? Like, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, I could go on and on about that one. The next one is also kind of a texting related one, but it's people making excuses for not answering texts or not giving an explanation after they take like forever to respond. Look, I get that we're all busy. I'm a very busy person, and I get that everyone has their own lives going on. So sometimes it does take a minute to respond to a text, you know. Maybe it takes all day to actually answer a text. Maybe it takes 2 days, whatever. Maybe sometimes a little justification would be nice, like, hey, so sorry, like I saw your text, but I was busy with this thing. But yes, I'll do that thing that you asked now. Or I don't know, just like, especially if you're mid conversation with someone and all of a sudden then they don't respond for 2 hours, it's like, hey, sorry, I was caught up with someone talking and then I was in the shower, whatever. So anyways, just that's all I need. That's all I need. And also when they're just making excuses like, sorry, I got home and immediately fell asleep. You can't tell me you didn't check your phone like at all. At all? Like you walked in the door and you dropped on the floor asleep. Like that's what you're telling me right now. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I am. But I feel like I have a lot of these pet peeves with texting. Because the next one is selectively good texters. You know, sometimes people are like really bad at texting back, but then they're really good at texting back with someone else. And it's frustrating to see, you know? And I have people, like I have friends and acquaintances where they, like I've been hanging out with them and I see when they receive a text from like certain people and they're like, oh, I got a text, and they are immediately responding. But then, you know, if I've texted them and they're like, oh, I don't know how, I didn't see your text. Like I must have missed it, whatever. It's like, but you, like, especially if you got an Apple Watch on or something, like you are actively seeing other people's texts when they come in, and suddenly you're like really bad at responding to other people's. Like, don't be a selectively good texter, because that's just a pet peeve. I'm going to just group all the texting ones together, I think, because the next one is people not texting, calling, or making plans because they assume I'm busy, but they didn't even ask. That's a big one for me. I am a very busy person, and I have that reputation, and I know that I can be hard to schedule things with for people that might try, but it's like a lot of times people just kind of assume that I'm going to be busy, so they don't even bother reaching out or like trying to schedule stuff or inviting me to something because they just assume that I'm busy. And it's like, I would like the chance to say no. Like, just invite me, just ask me. And if I have to say no because I have something else going on, like, so be it. But I would like to at least be informed or like reached out to, you know? That would be nice. Okay, this is a phone related one, kind of. But when your phone says that you have 5G and full bars of service, but the service is not actually working, then just tell me I don't have service. Like, if you're telling me, yeah, 5G, full bars, whatever, you should be working fine, should be working, and then I'm trying to send something or look something up or post something, watch something, and it's just not working, just be honest. Just tell me, look, hey, I don't got a signal right now, so you're going to have to wait. That's kind of a minor one, but anyways. So we're going to kind of move away from the phone topic, and we're going to get into some other customer service related pet peeves, because I've worked in customer service for a few years, and I'm sure I could make a whole episode just about that, but I'll keep it to a few. The first one is customers complaining, but ending it with, but it's not your fault. Like, thank you, Karen. Thank you. For treating me like absolute garbage and yelling at me in my face and then being like, oh, but it's not your fault. So, you know, then go talk to somebody else. If you're standing here complaining about something and being really rude about it, and then you're acknowledging like that it's not my fault, I don't make the rules, whatever, then why are you taking all that out of me in the first place. Like, go take that energy somewhere else. Because I have customers complain to me about things and I'm like, I did not make that policy. I do not make those rules. I can't control that. That's not me. Like, I'm so sorry, but it's not me. It's not me. I can't help you. Sorry. So they'll do all this rude stuff and then they try and justify it and be like, yeah, sorry, like, it's not your fault, whatever. It's like, just chill out. I don't know. Another one is customers handing me wadded cash and expecting me to count out what I need and smooth it all out. Like, that shouldn't have to be my job, I feel like. I don't know. Maybe. I guess. But, like, even if I am the cashier, I feel like it's the kind of decent thing to do to kind of sort your money out a little bit, at least. Not just hand me a whole wadded clump of cash that's all, like, folded up and wrinkled, and I have to, like, sometimes I get really not petty, but I guess passive aggressive, not passive aggressive, I don't know, but I'm like a little salty about it, and so I'm like, I'm gonna just take my time. So I'm sitting there and I'm smoothing out each of their 15 $1 bills that they paid me with that are all crinkled and crumpled and all of that. And I'm like, I still have to count your money. I still gotta make sure it's all here. So it's gonna take me a minute. You could have done this some other time, organize it a little better, but nope. So you're gonna sit here and wait while I meticulously do each one, and you can't complain about being in a rush because you did this to yourself, buddy. Anyway, I promise I'm very nice. I'm good at customer service. On the outside, I stay calm, I stay polite, I stay respectful. On the inside, oh, I'm rolling my eyes, I'm yelling at you, I'm complaining, I'm being passive aggressive, all the things. But on the outside, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. And that, ladies and gentlemen, takes a lot of strength. So, patting myself on the back for that one, because when you work in customer service, there are lots of times that you have to bite your tongue. And I'll leave it at that. Oh, and kind of on that note, there was this one time when I was working, because I would work at a campground for a couple of years over the summer, and in the store, there was this one time when this lady that was very obviously high came in, and she bought something, and she paid me with a mason jar full of what she said was $12 worth of coins. And it wasn't just quarters or just like something all the same. No, it was a mixture of quarters and nickels and dimes and pennies. And she was like, I even wrote $12 on the lid for you so that like, you don't even have to count it. It's $12. I'm like, ma'am, I do have to count this. I do have to count this still. And there was all these festivities going on outside. It was Halloween weekend. Everyone in costumes, starting this parade, all that stuff. And I wanted to, chill and watch that. But no, I'm sitting here like a king in his old castle, counting his stacks of gold. Like, my counter, I just got, my piles of 10 that I'm making, like my piles of $1. I'm counting coins for probably at least 15 minutes. And, I just eventually gave up and was like, it seemed like it was about $12. So I let her take the thing that she bought and leave. And then I finished counting it. But I was like, ma'am, just because you wrote that it's $12 does not mean that I can just take that as that it's definitely $12. So anyway, that's just a random side story. Okay, the next one is not really customer service related, but don't make promises you can't keep. That's a big one for me, like making empty promises. Some examples are, if it's been times when people have agreed to do something and then they're like, yeah, I'll get that to you by tomorrow, or yeah, I'll finish that and send it over by tonight. And then they say that and then it never happens. And then so you check in with them again, maybe a few days, a few weeks, and they say the same thing. Oh yeah, like I got super busy, but I'll get that to you tomorrow. And then they don't. And it's like, just don't even, at that point, don't even bother telling me that. Like, just, I don't know. Maybe just don't say anything. That might be better. It wouldn't be, but I'm just saying, like, if you have told someone that you're going to do something by a certain time, like, I get it. Sometimes things come up, but if it keeps happening over and over again and you're promising like, yeah, I'll get this done by this time, and then you don't, like, that's annoying. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Or when people are like, yeah, I'll I'll let you know once I find out this, or yeah, I'll text you when I get here, or um yeah, we can totally do this together this time, like guaranteed. And then that doesn't happen. Like they don't text you or they don't do the thing. Like that just really gets to me. It's honestly, I would say that's even more than a pet peeve. Like that kind of cuts deeper than a pet peeve, because I feel like pet peeves are just surface level things, and maybe some of these things on my list are not as surface level. So I don't know. Okay, this one's also a little bit of a deeper one, but when you have to beg someone to do something for or with you, but then they do it willingly for or with someone else. So for example, this is just a specific to me example, but like if I release a song and then like no one posts about it or like shares my song or whatever, but then someone else kind of in our circle or like in their life that's like a smaller artist, whatever, releases a song or does some other really cool thing, then they'd be posting that. And it's like, so if I wanted someone to do that for me, I would have to beg them, but then they do it willingly for someone else. It's like, what's elevating the other person above me? Like, how do I get that? You know, which might seem kind of like petty or conceited. I don't know. But for me, and that's just one specific example, but even if it's like an experience that you want to go do with someone and they're kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't really seem like my thing, like, doesn't really seem that fun, but then someone else gets them to go and do it, and then they go do it, and it's like, okay, I see. Or even if it's just like a type of support or a type of love language or a type of anything that you are asking for from someone and they're not giving it to you, and then they very easily give it to some random other person, it's like, oof, you know, pet peeve, but more than a pet peeve, I guess. Next is random guys requesting to message you, but then just saying, "Hey." Can't even tell you how many times this happens to me, especially when I started posting more on my music account on Instagram and TikTok. It's like random people or random accounts will message me and just hit me with the "hey" or "hey, what's up?" It's like I don't know you. I don't know you at all. And so you're going to have to give me a little something more to respond to. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, if I was going to message somebody that I either didn't know at all or knew kind of, but like have never really had reason to message, or maybe it's just been a long time since I've talked to them, I'm not just going to reach out and be like, "Hey," because what reason do they have to respond to that? Like, how about you try, "Hey," and then maybe the reason that you're messaging them? Like, I don't know, just be upfront about it. If you need something from them, like just ask in your initial message. Or if you just have a question, like just start right off with a question, you know? Because if you're just saying, "Hey," like what reason do I have to respond to that? Zero reason. I have no reason. And so it's like, get more creative than that, okay? Get more creative. I had this one guy, actually, I should find it and read it to you guys. I had this one guy who he's a verified user, I guess, but like on Instagram, but and he's some sort of musician kind of. I don't know. I'm not going to reveal his name obviously, but yeah, he's a verified Instagram user and he started following me like on TikTok and Instagram, and he kept trying to say like, "Hey, we should collab. We should do this. We should do that. Oh, and let me hook you up with this producer," all that stuff. And he'd always like respond. He was doing too much. Like I could tell that it was not. And so on Instagram, he kept messaging me being like, "Hi, hey, hi, Kaylee." One time he literally just said "baby." Like what? Okay. And one time he sent me a reel, an Instagram reel that said, "This could be us right now if you weren't so far away." And it was like this reel. And then, yeah, he would just start saying random messages like, "Hi." And then, "Kaylee, can we collaborate?" And most of the time I would just kind of leave him on, like, I wouldn't answer. But he said, "Can we collaborate?" And so I was like, you know what? Let me humor him this one time. So I said, "Collaborate on what?" And he said, "Marriage." Uh, I'm sorry, what? "Marriage," he said, "marriage." And I did not answer that. And so an hour later, he said, "I want to marry you," with I wish I could describe emojis. I'm not good at describing them. So with an emoji. Kind of like the little smile with like the big watery eyes, kind of that one. Yeah. Anyway, and so I didn't respond. And then another few hours later, he just said, Kaylee, with the same emoji. And and then a day later, since I still hadn't answered, he was like, we will make songs together. This time with the big watery eyes, but like kind of sad emoji. I don't know how to describe it. And a heart. We will show the world what we are. Please, let's get married. And then still didn't answer. So 2 days later, he's like, hi, baby. And then a day after that, he sends me this picture that's like just another Saturday. And it's like a mirror selfie of him shirtless. And I'm like, ugh, dude, I don't even know you. So just give it a rest. Like, I'm not going to. Sometimes people are like, oh, why don't you just like block them? I'm like, it's kind of entertaining, low key. It kind of is entertaining. But because I'm like, I just want to see what their approach is. You know, I want to see what their attempt is and judge it because why not? All right. So another one, similar to these like one word themes, I guess, is when you ask about someone's day or a detail about it and they respond with a one word or just a yes or no answer. Like, hello, give some details. Ask me a question. Keep the conversation going. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just interrogating you. And I've found that it's usually men that do this. Not to like be stereotypical, but I just, in my experience and in talking to other people, the general experience has been that usually guys do this a lot more than girls. Like there's a running joke about how you ask a guy how his day is and he just says good, and you ask a girl how her day is and she like spits out 5 paragraphs of what happened and this person said this and then I did this, and it's like I can relate to that, but it's like, you know, if I ask you about your day, like if I'm genuinely asking you about your day, don't just be like, it was all right. That was yours. Like, no, give me something more than that, because if you're asking me how my day was, I'm going to be like, well, I did this thing and I had this opportunity and I got to talk to this person for the first time in forever and all this and that. So if you're just like, yeah, I didn't do much. What about you? It's like, no, that's not going to work now. Let's have an actual conversation, you know? And if people are just not trying to keep the conversation going, even if you know that it's someone that does care about you and like does want to talk to you sometimes, or like you've had great conversations with them, but sometimes if it feels like you're just interrogating them, it's like, that's such a pet peeve of mine when I feel like I'm interrogating someone when all I'm trying to do is have a basic conversation about, you know, whatever experience that they maybe had, but they're not really talking about it much. But it's like, so were you like, you know, did you go to this place, or like, you know, what was that for? Like, who all was there? Like all this stuff. I don't know. And maybe it's just that girls are more invested in the details like that than guys are. Like, is that a thing? Like, is that really just what it is? I don't know. If you're a dude listening to this, maybe comment and verify whether that's true. Like, do you just not care about the details as much? Is that it? Like, why are y'all just giving one word answers or being like super vague about your day or whatever it is that we're talking about, when girls are like given a lot more details? Why is that? Can science explain that? Like, somebody, please. Anyway, I know a lot of people can relate to this one. When you have to call a company or like a business or whatever, and it's not a real person that answers, I don't want to talk to that robot. I'm so sorry. Like, I understand why businesses do that now, like doctors' offices or insurance companies or other businesses, like, because maybe it saves them some time. Maybe it saves them money, like, you know, less people that they have to pay, I guess. But it's just really frustrating when you're like, because you've all sat through the spiel from the robot where it's like, if you're calling because of this, press 1. If you're calling because of this, press 2. If you're calling, but sometimes before you even get to that option, you have to sit through a whole, did you know that you can blah, 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 this health portal, this, and sign up for that, and da, 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 da. It's like, all right, just where's the skip ad button? Because I don't need to hear about this. And then sometimes after that, you have to sit through the whole, this call may be recorded for blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, I don't care. Just put me on the line with someone. And then after that, it's like, if you're calling because of this, press 1. If you're calling because of that, press 2. If you're calling, and it's sometimes what you're calling about is kind of like a mixture of two of the options. You're like, which one do I press? I don't know. Or you kind of zone out for a second, and then you're like, oh, now I don't know what button to press. And so if you'd like to repeat the options, press 5. And so you have to press 5 and sit through it all again. And it's like, I just want to talk to somebody real, please. Because especially if you get into the ones where you have to start saying stuff and the robot is like repeating your information back to you, like the few times that I've had to be on some call where I have to like read out some membership number or like say my name, say my date of birth, like choose a date for an appointment, and it's all a robot. It's like, are you sure it's going to hear me correctly? Because sometimes I feel like it doesn't. And I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Sometimes it gets frustrating, and I know that so many people, especially like older people, because again, we're not used to these robots. Like people that didn't grow up with technology at all, especially, like, give me a real person. Give me a real person. Anyway. Another one with like technology, which I realize most of my pet peeves are around this, but it's people not responding to emails or asking questions I already answered in the email. Because here's the thing. For me, especially like right now in my last semester here in person at my college, I'm a video and film production major, for those of you that don't know, and my focus is in live broadcasting, like live production. And I kind of have a position of a lot of responsibility where I'm very often in charge of, crewing for events, or maybe I'm the director or I'm the producer, or I'm just kind of overseeing a lot of things. And so I send out a lot of emails, and that's how, I keep people in the loop about things. But it seems like video students specifically here at Husson are so bad at answering emails. It's like, you put out an email asking people to respond if they're, whether they are or are not available to work this certain thing, and then nobody answers. And then you send that email several times and nobody answers. And then I have to go track people down in person and be like, hey, did you get my email? And sometimes they're like, oh, yeah, I did. I meant to respond, but yeah, I can't do that day or whatever. Or they'll be like, no, I don't think I saw it. Let me go check right now. It's like, I really don't have time to go track people down individually, one-on-one, to find out whether they've read my emails. Like, I spent the time typing up the email. Just read the email. It's not that hard. And for me, like, I get emails on my phone just like I get texts. Like, I will see the notification. So if it's, if it's an email, I know that we get a lot of junk emails. I know that the university itself sends out a bunch of random emails, but it's like, it's not that hard to see. It just pops up. Like, just have it as a notification on your phone, and then it's really easy, and then you're not going to miss stuff, It's like, it's not that hard for me, so why is it hard for everyone else? I don't know. But also when people are asking questions that I very clearly put a lot of time into, like, drafting a whole informational email, even like highlighting the important things, putting them in bold, underlining them, whatever, such as call times for things, or dates for things, or locations for where we're meeting, or the general, like, a lot of information I put in the email. And when people ask me something and I'm like, it's in the email. Did you read the email? The one that I spent forever actually like typing out and sending to everyone so that everyone had all the information they needed. Yeah, it was in that email. So don't ask me questions like that. If it's not in the email, then absolutely you can ask. But if you have access to that information, like, I've given you all the info you need. So don't waste my time by not doing your own research or using the resources that you have directly available to you. Like, I don't know. And I'm sure that people can probably relate to that some when you're in, like a corporate job where you're doing a bunch of emails. Maybe not. All right, we're almost done with my pet peeves, I swear. Then we're going to get to yours, and it'll be the good stuff. So this one is when someone turns or pulls out in front of you when you're driving and you have to slam on your brakes because they really didn't have enough time. This one gets me so worked up, because lately there have been so many times when I've wanted to when I've just had the intrusive thought to just not slow down, not put on the brakes, and just keep going at the speed I was going to show them that they did not have enough time to turn in front of me or to pull out in front of me. But then, obviously if I did that, like, I would crash into them. It'd be an accident, it could go really bad. So obviously I'm not going to do that. But I just have been so tempted to just be like, you did not have enough time. Like, if I didn't slam on my brakes and just kept going at the speed that I was, I would be plowing through you in 0.2 seconds. So especially if there's like nobody behind me, I'm like, you literally could have waited 5 seconds and it would have been fine. But you did not have the time. If you're going to pull out in front of me, either get right up to speed really quickly or don't do it at all, Because if I have to slam on my brakes, oh, you've made me mad. You have made me mad. So it's a big pet peeve of mine. So I think this is my last one for now. But when you're typing and you're about to choose, you know how when you're texting, there's like 3 kind of suggested words at the top of your keyboard that change like as you type the word. Well, usually the one that you want like will pop up in the middle, right? And so a lot of times I'll be typing and I'm typing this word and the word that I'm looking for then starts to pop up and it's right in the middle and I go to click on it and in that time it has since moved to one of the side spots. And so I click on the middle word that was the word I wanted, but now it's not the word I wanted. And so it puts some other word in there and now I have to backspace, like delete the letters, all of that, go back, start typing it again, and then the right word pops up. So I go to click on it and suddenly it jumps somewhere else. So it puts the wrong word in again and it's just a whole mess. And it irritates me to no avail. Like, I don't know if that happens to other people, but man, it just irritates me. And maybe I'm spending too much time on my phone because why were half of these pet peeves like stuff about phones or being online? All right. So now is the time where we're going to get into your pet peeves and I'm going to keep these anonymous. But let's talk about yours, and we're going to see how many that I relate to, and we're going to go from there. So thank you for those of you that actually responded to my Instagram story that I put out and turned in your pet peeves, even if you didn't know that that's what I was going to use them for. I really only expected 1 or 2 responses, and I got quite a few. So let's dive in. I have all these screenshotted so that I wouldn't forget. Let's get into the first one. Somebody said, when the parking lot or theater or classroom is empty and someone chooses the spot right next to you or right in front of you. That is kind of irritating. I do agree with that one. I have experienced that. There have been times when my family and I were the only ones in the movie theater, and then this other family comes in and they park themselves right in front of us, or it's like I'm someone that in a parking lot, like if there is a space that's not right between 2 people or right next to someone, I'm going to choose it, right? So I guess I also agree that it's baffling when there's all these spaces and someone still chooses to be like right next to you. It's like, what is this, like a safety in numbers thing? Like, do you have separation anxiety? Do you need to be parked right next to somebody? Like, what's the deal? I don't know. All right. So someone else said, when people say they got a bee bite, and then in all caps they said they sting with 3 G's. I've honestly never heard anyone say a bee bite before. I've never experienced that. So I guess this is not really something that would drive me up the wall. I guess I understand how it could be a pet peeve to someone, but it's like, is this happening to you all the time? Like, are people talking about this all the time? Because if so, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, yes, bees do sting. So I've never heard anyone say a bee bite. That'd be like saying a mosquito bite, but that's actually correct. However, when I mentioned this to someone today, someone actually told me that there are some bees that do kind of bite, like they have little pinchers. So I didn't know that either. So maybe saying a bee bite is accurate in some cases. I don't know. It sounds weird. And again, I've never heard anyone say it, but hey, you learn something new every day. So I don't know. The next person, she said, annoying men. Annoying men is her pet peeve. And I'm assuming she means men that are annoying, not the act of making men annoyed. So men that are annoying. I feel like that goes deeper than just a pet peeve because that's like a whole, again, not to stereotype at all, but yeah, I get it. Like, guys can be annoying. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna go any deeper. And somebody said when people don't know basic geography, and yeah, that one, I don't know if it's a pet peeve of mine, but it's for sure something where I'm like, okay, did you go to school? Like, did they teach you anything? Like, I feel like it's not hard to at least have a basic awareness of like certain things. You know, if you live in the United States and you can't even say what two countries border the United States, like, I'm sorry, that's wild to me. That's really wild. If hey, if you don't know the answer to that, it's Canada and Mexico. I'm gonna help you out as a friend because you should know that. So, just in case you didn't, Canada and Mexico border the United States, but you would be surprised. Like, there's actually people that don't know these things, like basic geography things, or thinking that something is a continent when it's a country, or thinking that it's a country when it's just a state, or when it's a continent. It's like, I swear that there are people, if you ask them like what continent Europe was in, they wouldn't know what to tell you. And it's like, that's a little bit tragic. And I don't know if some of you guys have seen those videos where there's these people that go around like New York City, like other, cities where there's lots of people from everywhere, and they ask these questions that are kind of like should be common sense questions. They're like, basic like history trivia or geography trivia type of things. And some of the answers that people give, it's like, that has to be staged, because if it's not, oh my goodness, like, y'all are really stupid. Respectfully. Like, so yeah, when people don't know basic geography, that's kind of embarrassing for them, honestly. This same person said when people throw away leftovers at a restaurant, I fear that I am the culprit of that more often than not. Or especially like in the dining hall at my college, because it's like half the time, you're served a certain amount of food and it's like, I'm not going to eat all that, or I don't have time to eat all that, or I don't really like this food, so I'm not going to eat all that. And so most of the time when I'm turning in my plate at the end of the meal, there's still quite a bit of food on it. And I do feel bad about it. Usually at a restaurant, I'm going to get a box and like take the rest of my food with me. But I'm not someone that eats large portion sizes. And in America, they serve large portion sizes usually. So but I do understand where this person is coming from with that being a pet peeve, because trust me, I wish that I could, like, if all that food that I know I'm wasting, I wish I could find a way to get it to someone that needs it, because I recognize how wasteful that is. And I know that so many people do that, and it's a big thing. So also, the person that submitted this is someone that I know that he has been to countries and seen situations where people are not very well off and are very poor, and the amount of food that gets wasted here in our country is crazy. So I totally understand where you're coming from on that. Somebody said loud phone conversations in public. I don't know if it's just because I never do that, but it's like, I don't understand how people have the capacity to be so loud on the phone in public, because I would just be way too self-conscious, I guess, or like way too situationally aware. Like, I feel like I'm almost never on the phone or on FaceTime in public. Usually if I'm on the phone or on FaceTime, it's like I'm home alone, or I'm in my room, or in the car or something. But like out in public, like walking around, or at a restaurant, or on public transportation, or in a waiting room, or like wherever, that's just not me. So yeah, I also agree that it's kind of weird and kind of annoying when people are just so blatantly, like, they seem to just be disregarding everybody else around them. Even if they're not trying to be disrespectful, it's just like, maybe use some context clues, like maybe be aware of your surroundings, maybe take a hint, like take that somewhere else. So yes, I understand that one. Okay. This person said when you're in a group of 3 or 4 and 2 of them start whispering to each other, and then the other people are just standing there confused, because if they need to whisper, or if they needed to whisper, They could have taken it to another room. Yes, this one, oh boy. I have firsthand experience with this, and it does not feel good. It does not feel good at all. So, yeah, there was one time when this is just a specific example, but I was this actually happened my first semester here at Huston University after transferring in, and I was in a dorm room, and I was with maybe 5 people, and we were all talking, and then one of the girls in the room, she suddenly turns to the guy next to her and starts whispering, like hand up to her mouth, like right in his ear, starts whispering. And of course we were all talking, but we all like went quiet and were just confused, like what it was that she was whispering about. Like, not that we needed to know, but it was just kind of weird of like, we're all here having this conversation. Why are you just whispering over on the side, like so secretive? She very obviously did not want everyone else to hear. And it was just so awkward because they wouldn't like say what they were talking about. Turns out that she was actually, because we found this out later from the person that she was whispering to, but it turns out she was actually talking badly about me and one of the other girls in the room. Literally right in front of our faces. Like, she was just whispering it. And yeah, that was kind of crazy. I was like, the audacity, like that would never cross my mind to be like whispering badly about someone when you're literally in a whole group, like mid conversation with each other. Like, if you're going to talk behind someone's back, period, like at least do it not right in front of their face. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Or even if it's not something bad about someone, like if it's something you can't share with the whole group, then don't be like trying to be all secretive with someone while you're still in that group setting. Like, take it somewhere else. Be like, hey, can you come join me over here for a second? I just gotta ask you something. Like, I don't know. Just be considerate, people. So yeah, I totally get that one. That same person also said, getting flamed for being bad at a certain activity when you were literally doing said activity for the first time ever. He said, has happened to me so many times, whether it's a new sport, video game, whatever. Yes. That's all I can say. Yes. Because I totally understand, especially with like the video games thing. I'm a very competitive person. And I don't like to be seen as bad at things or incompetent. And so this one for sure I can relate to. One example, so a lot of my friends play Mario Kart, or like they have before. And I didn't grow up playing games like that. So the first time I played it was in college with everyone that had been playing it before. And so I was not that good. And of course I would be mad at myself because I'm like, why do I keep losing? But it's like, obviously I'm bad at it. It's like, I've never done it before and everyone else is so good. And so it's frustrating. So for sure, a pet peeve. Somebody said, okay, this one's funny because I'm just picturing this in the voice of the person that said it, and like his laugh also. This guy is one of the funniest people on the planet that I've ever met, and his laugh is very contagious. He's so funny. But he said, when I go to the drive-thru and the AI voice asks if I'm using the mobile app, followed by silence. Like, okay, I don't know if he means like followed by his silence or, you know, the AI voice is silent after asking that. I don't know. It's also just funny to me that he's calling it the AI voice. But I don't really go through drive-thrus much, so I don't know if I can relate to this one, but I totally understand. I think I do, anyways, why this could be a pet peeve, but maybe some of you listening can relate to that one a little more. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I was in a drive-thru, so I don't remember what the process is like as far as them asking about the mobile app. So yeah, I'm sure that would be a pet peeve of mine if I went through drive-thrus more often. I don't know. There was also, looks like there was several different responses from several different people that had kind of the same pet peeve of the sound of people chewing. And I get that one. I do. Someone said people smacking on gum or chips. Someone said the sound of people chewing. And then someone said chewing with your mouth open, skull emoji, like a bro, seal them lips. That one is also funny because of who said it. Because he's also such a funny person. Yeah, bro, seal them lips. Okay. I do understand this one though, because I have had times where I'm like fine, but then all of a sudden my brain will hyperfixate on the sound of someone next to me chewing and swallowing and everything. And all of a sudden I can't do it. Can't do it. Like my brain hyperfixates on it and then I'm like, nope, I need to leave. So I get that one. I do. So I think that's probably a pretty common one. Someone also said being interrupted by my third graders when teaching. Girl, I feel you on that one. I feel you. I used to work with kids. I was a coach and I worked with kids that were ages like 4 or 5 up through 12-year-olds. I worked at a summer camp and after school program for a few years, and my goodness, and it was large groups of kids too. And the amount of times that I would be interrupted when I was trying to give directions for our next activity, or if I'm talking to a kid or another coach and then kids are coming up to me like, Coach Kaylee, Coach Kaylee, Coach Kaylee. I'm like, I'm talking. And kids have no real sense of that. Like they just don't, it just doesn't cross their mind. They're just like, I need something and I need it right now. So the world does in fact revolve around me. And it's like, hate to break it to you, buddy, but doesn't revolve around you. So give me a second. I'm talking. So yeah, I totally feel that one. Someone just said hypocrisy. And yeah, I can see why that's a pet peeve, because nobody likes a hypocrite. Like, get that mess out of here. That same person said also people not using their signal. Yeah, if you're slowing down in front of me and it's because you're turning, but you're not letting me know that you're turning, what are you doing? Like you're asking for me to just plow through you again with the intrusive thought, like, let me not slow down. Because if you're going to slow down, justify it. Give me that reason. Be like, look, hey, I know I'm slowing down like kind of dramatically, but it's because I'm about to turn. So just give me a second. Then I'd be fine. Then I'd be cool. But if you're not even giving that, and some people are weird. They're like, never let them know your next move. It's like, actually for driving safety, you actually are supposed to let people know your next move. Like that is kind of the goal. That's how that works, so that people know where you're about to turn or what you're about to do, so that they don't crash into you. So, but no, never let them know your next move. Sure, that's how you want to roll. Someone said people dragging their feet, and I've never really thought about that one before, but I guess they must mean like kind of dragging, like shuffling their feet as they're walking, I guess. For sure could be annoying, especially if you're like walking right next to them. Like I get it, I think. And then someone said perpetual tardiness. So basically like chronically being late. Again, I fear that I may be the culprit in this as well. However, I will say I'm not usually late, like late to whatever it is, but usually I'm later leaving than I planned or anticipated, because the last minute things, you think you have all kinds of time, and then you're like, oh, I still got another 10 minutes before I have to leave, and suddenly you're like, oh, actually I was supposed to leave 5 minutes ago. But that's why you usually set a time where you're like, okay, I'm going to aim to leave by this time. And then you set a second time, if you're like me, where it's like, okay, I'm going to aim for this time, but I have to be leaving by this time. Like, have to be, to get there just in time for the thing to start, or just in time for when I have to be there, right? And usually I'm really pushing it. I'm leaving at this is when I have to be leaving by time. And so therefore maybe I'm speeding a little bit, maybe I'm speed walking. So I fear that I am perpetual tardy person. I don't know, that sounds weird, but their wording. I'm chronically in a rush to get places. So, okay, there's just a few more. Somebody said people saying baby chicks, baby calves, or any other form of that. And this makes sense because this person is very much a farm girl, and so I understand why this would be a pet peeve for her. If you think about it, yeah, baby chicks, like baby calves, a calf or a chick or anything like that already is the baby form of the animal. So you don't have to, it's like a double negative type thing. It's like when people say ATM machine, like, you know that the M in ATM stands for machine. So you're saying, I think, is it like automatic teller machine or something? I think so. You're basically saying automatic teller machine. So if you're saying baby chick, you're basically saying baby chicken. baby chicken. If you think about it, that's what you're saying. So I get it. As someone said, when you hold the door and they don't say thank you, or when you're right behind them and they don't hold the door. See, okay, I do understand. I mean, I don't really care too much, honestly, if I hold the door for someone and they don't say thank you. Like, it's nice if they do, but I feel like I don't get too uptight about it if they don't. But if you are right behind someone, like right behind them, and they saw you and don't hold the door, that's kind of a bit much. I've found that at least, like, especially here on my college campus, people are really good about holding the door most of the time. Like, even to the extreme. Like, there's times when I'm walking behind someone to a door and I'm literally I'm like overthinking it because I'm like, I need to slow down like significantly so that they don't feel like they have to hold the door, or I need to like speed up so that they're not holding it for too long since they are going to hold it for me. It's like, it's the same thing with if you're approaching a crosswalk and there's a car also approaching and you're like, oh no, they're going to think they have to wait for me, but like really they should just go because by the time I get there anyways, they would have time to go. But then they're slowing down and waiting for you, but you're still like not even at the crosswalk yet. So then you got to kind of speed up and do this awkward little thing. It's like, just go. Like, I understand pedestrians right of way, whatever, but like, just go. Like, I'll be all right. Just go. You got plenty of time. Same thing with the door. It's like, thank you for holding the door for me. I appreciate it. But like, I for real, I wouldn't have cared. Like, I was still kind of a ways away. Instead, I had to do that little awkward speed up run thing because you feel bad that they're just standing there holding the door open. So I am sometimes guilty of, if someone is that awkward distance behind me, I just kind of pretend I didn't see them and then I don't hold the door. Like, obviously, if they're close enough to me, I'm going to hold the door. But if it's like that awkward distance, I'm like, I don't really want that situation. So I'm just going to pretend I didn't see them. And then it's not rude, right? I mean, obviously, if I'm pretending I didn't see them, I'm like, okay, sure, it's rude. But I feel like we've all done that at some point. And there is still technically time that someone in the next hour could submit another pet peeve. I'm checking right now. Nobody has. So I'm going to say we're good. And I know this was a longer episode of me kind of just ranting, talking, rambling, whatever, but maybe you could relate to some of it. Hopefully you could. Actually, hopefully not, because hopefully you're way more chill about these things than me. But you know, everyone has pet peeves about something. So if you didn't submit a pet peeve and you have one, like, feel free to leave it in the comments. Commenting definitely helps with engagement on the podcast. So share the podcast with a friend. Make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube if you're not already, and that you're following me on Spotify if you're not already. And yeah, I hope you guys got some entertainment. Honestly, I'm a little surprised at how chill I still am. I for sure thought I was going to get way more heated talking about some of these things. But yeah, no, it was a fun one, and I have a very exciting episode coming up after this one that's already been recorded, and you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you stay tuned. I hope you guys are having a great day, a great week, a great weekend whenever you're listening to this, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.